Two new updates in the land of the Toronto Maple Leafs. First, the Leafs signed their latest first-round draft pick from the 2023 draft, and an update on the Matthew Knies NHL top prospect ranking. What's up, Leafs fans, and welcome back to Leafs Digest. Yes, we are in mid-August here. There's not too much going on surrounding this team, but we do have two new updates in regards to things that are going on prospect-wise around this team. So we'll get into those throughout this video. But before we do, I want to remind people this video is brought to you by rentals.ca. Rentals.ca is Canada's largest apartment hunting network. You can rent apartments, houses, and condos across the entire country from coast to coast. I mean, we're talking cities like Toronto, Calgary, Montreal, Vancouver, Ottawa, Winnipeg, Halifax, you name it. The website is clean and easy to use. Make sure to head over to rentals.ca if you're looking for a new condo or house, because they do have the largest apartment hunting network across Canada. I mean, I just moved to a new apartment myself. When we're scouring around different sites, trying to find somewhere to live, somewhere to move to, rentals.ca was a great place for us to start and try to find that new home that we were looking for when we moved to the beautiful city of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So make sure to check out rentals.ca, link in the description. Thank you to the rentals.ca for bringing this video to you here today. Now, let's get into the topics for today's video. But before I do, just quick reminder as well, if you're not subscribed already, I don't know what you're doing. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications on this video, on this channel, so you don't miss any videos going forward. So let's get into it. First and foremost, the Toronto Maple Leafs have signed Easton Cowan, their first-round draft pick from the 2023 NHL entry draft. Yes, he was the 28th overall selection this year. The Toronto Maple Leafs go and sign him to his 3-year entry-level deal. There's not too much in terms of the deal here that we need to be looking into. It is fairly straightforward for your typical entry-level deal, especially for the late first-round players. But Easton Cowan, a little bit about him. This is the guy that was the surprise first-round pick. He was picked 28th overall from the London Knights. He's about 5'10", 170 pounds, was not ranked as a first-round prospect, so you could imagine what Leafs fans were thinking, and I scoured the internet a little bit, and this statement here pretty much summed up what everybody was thinking. I didn't love the pick initially, but from what I've read about the kid since we drafted him, I like his energy. Can't wait to see this kid play with the big boys one day. Well, obviously optimistic, hoping that he will be able to make it to the big club one day. But that first sentiment kind of resonates with, I think, how everyone was feeling when we saw this pick. Not ranked in the first round, small, skilled forward. He looks pretty young relative to even some of the other kids that were drafted. You look at some of the other guys in this year's draft, and they look like they've been shaving for about 15 years. And Easton Cowan looks like he might not have had his first hair grow in on his face quite yet. So I think Leafs fans are a little bit upset, a little bit deterred, especially Brad Treliving comes in. You think, hey, we're going to get bigger, stronger, all these more mean, physical, tough. That doesn't be the case initially when you go into the draft, and the first pick you make is some shocking one. Now, this kid did put up 53 points in 68 games in his first full season with the London Knights. He's touted as a highly intelligent, very skilled forward, left-handed. He plays center, and by all accounts, it seems as though some of the other teams actually also had him ranked higher than maybe some of the mock drafts that get put out there, draft projections that get put out there, and the Leafs felt like, hey, this kid isn't going to go late second round. He's going to be early second round, so we're not going to pick for a little bit. Let's get our guy right now because we don't want to wait around and see if he's still there when we pick next. Now, I don't really think that this is that big of a deal. As far as these kids go that get drafted late in the first round, especially when it comes to the NHL compared to sports like the NBA, the NFL, it's much, much different. They're not expected to jump in right away unless you're maybe a top 3 pick. So the later on you go into the draft, even by the end of the first round, those players, they're not really expected to make that jump right away. They're expected to develop. This kid still has growing left. He's going to go back to London, can continue to develop skills, get stronger, get bigger, get faster, all those kinds of things. We saw Mitch Marner get drafted. Now, I'm not comparing him to Mitch Marner, but we saw him get drafted as this small skilled player. He goes back to junior. He lights it up there, develops confidence still, and then is able to transfer that over to the NHL. Maybe this is an opportunity for Easton Cowan here. You get a little bit more confidence being a first-round pick to the NHL, where you were projected maybe second, late second, third, wherever it was that you actually might have ended up going. You get picked in the first round, a little bit of a boost there from a team close to home in the Toronto Maple Leafs. You see guys on the current team, the current roster, who have gone through your organization in the OHL. Maybe it's just a little bit of a prop up for him. We'll see what he develops into, but that is first. He does get his entry-level deal signed, so we'll see how he continues to develop over the next year. Now, this is the one I think people are going to be most interested in. Matthew Knies receives high praise from the NHL Network ahead of next season. They released their top 50 NHL prospects, and Matthew Knies slots in at spot number 14. I mean, look at a couple notable names ahead of him. You obviously have Bedard, Fantilli, Logan Cooley, a couple of those guys slotting into the top 10, but then you see here the ones that fit in ahead of him, Simon Edvinsson, big defenseman in the Detroit Red Wings, Logan Stankoven, a standout player for the Canadian World Junior team, a guy that we saw play a big factor in his Memorial Cup run for his WHL team, Brant Clark, a guy who is real strong with the World Juniors as well as with his team in the Barrie Colts. He's expected to play with the LA Kings coming up this next season. He was one of the guys that was thrown around, hey, this might have to be a piece for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Ultimately ends up not going back the other way, and then there slots in Matthew Knies. And that is obviously going to be a combination of a couple of things. First and foremost, he had an incredible college career. He started to become more highly touted as his college years went on. Other teams and other agents, prospects, scouts, all these guys started looking at him, relating him to other prospects, saying, hey, this kid is going to be above the rest. He's big, he's physical, he can score, he's got great hands, and his skating surprised a lot of people. Then when he jumped up into the playoffs there with the Maple Leafs, he made an immediate impact. As far as Leafs fans were concerned, and even people around the league, it's not to say the Leafs would have won that series against Florida, but it feels like it would have been different if he wasn't injured and had to miss the rest of it. He was a legitimate impact player. Now, you're going to throw him into a system here where he's probably going to get top 6 minutes playing alongside either Matthews and Marner or John Tavares and William Nylander, and let me tell you, neither of those options are bad options for a young kid with that skill set to be playing alongside. So as we watch Matthew Knies continue to progress, we see him getting that recognition from the NHL Network, their top 50 prospect. And not only that, top 15, slotting in at spot number 14. Now, if you are looking to bet on him next season for the Calder, the Rookie of the Year, which he is in fact eligible for, he's currently sitting at plus 2,000 on some books out there. Saw that one earlier today at Bet365. That is the 7th best odds. So I'll tell you this. In the world of sports betting, which I am very familiar with because of my day job, basically what that is telling you is that the NHL Network has him ranked at number 14, but very, very smart people out there who bet into these markets and shape them based off of what they model things and how they project his season to go. They predict him to do this year. They're predicting him to be one of the top 10 prospects by the end of this season. So NHL Network currently sitting at 14. You got some of the smartest people in the world who make these numbers move by modeling out and projecting seasons, projecting player values, player outcomes. They've got him slotting in number 7 right now. So that is definitely something to take note of. But Matthew Knies is receiving high praise from people around the league as well as from the betting community. So keep an eye on that. But Leafs fans, thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Do appreciate it. As always, if you're not already, make sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications. If you do want to join the community as well, you can find that link in the description of this video to join the members community. We will have something coming up here where we'll be doing a season-long fantasy hockey league, so you won't want to miss out on that with all the other Leafs fans in here. But Leafs fans, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. Keep believing.